The Lord is good. And all the time. I thank the choristers. I just had to inform them very late about this, and they were able to sing that. May the Lord continue to bless you now and always through Christ our Lord. It was very necessary for me because with the gospel of today, we see that both the Old Testament and the New Testament were brought together. And the fulfillment of that Old Testament has been seen by the two figures of law and prophets. So it was necessary to sing with these figures, these special figures, two of them. The readings of today are very wonderful readings, and they are very inspiring. I started by saying that we have three commands, three habits to cultivate. The habits of Exodus. Exodus means departure, exit, going out, living. The habits of Exodus, that is the command of Exodus. Live. Whether you know where you're going or you don't know, live where you are. Whether you understand or you don't understand, live and go. The second command is the command to share in the suffering of Christ. Even when you don't understand it very well, have faith and share. Enough to love the Lord while passing through that. Okay? Because salvation already was there before the so-called suffering came. And the grace of God has always been there before the suffering came. So it's not possible not to defeat that suffering. The third command is listen. It's that of attention. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. These are the different stages of our readings of today. But I cannot start to talk about this without trying to understand some meanings, especially of the fundamental figure of the first reading. Abraham, or Abram as some people call it. You know that there was Abraham, and then after there will be Abraham. Okay? The meaning of these names are very, very important to understand before we go into this. In Hebrew, this is, of course, they are of Hebrew origin. Abram, we're talking about, because Abraham will be found in chapter 17. But since we are dealing with chapter 12, we remain in chapter 12 of Genesis. Combination of two words in Hebrew. We normally say Abba, which means what? Which means what? Father. We have been saying all these things. But all these things were formed from Hebrew words. In English, one say, I have a book. That's have, H-A-V-E. If you remove the H in front, remove the E behind, you pronounce what? Av, isn't it? You pronounce Av. That Av is what we translate as Ab. And in extension, by extension, it becomes Abba. Because in Hebrew, B, as we have in English, has a heavy one and a light one. A heavy one will be pronounced as in English B. The light one will be pronounced as V. V. So instead of saying Abram, the way we will say it, if you are to read it in Hebrew, you will say Avram. You don't say Abram, because the B there is the light one. It is not the heavy one. But English doesn't differentiate between heavy B or, light one. So everything will always be pronounced as B. So that is it. And what is the meaning of this? Av means father. Ram means exalted or high. Exalted or high. So you can say exalted father, high father. That is someone who is exalted, but is a father. Father figure, exalted one. That's the meaning of Abram or Avram. as the case may be. It is very, very important to understand from the name also and the action of Abraham shows that there is a serious harmony between the meaning of the name and what he does. Okay, the Lord called him to leave his own land, leave his own people, leave his own culture, leave all the comfort he has been enjoying. At the age of 75, he called him, leave your own land to another land that I will show you. The Lord didn't tell him which exactly is the land. And Abraham did not say, no, you have to tell me where I'm going before I go. I need to know. But where am I going? He didn't even ask question. This is verses 1 to 4 that we just read. Just stop like that. But we could not hear Abraham say anything. The only thing is a call to obedience. He started believing in order to understand. Saint Anselm of Canterbury will say, fides querens intellectum, which means faith seeking understanding. It is in believing, in having faith, that we will understand. We need to believe. We need to make that pilgrimage. We need to walk. We need to proceed in order to understand. But if we want to understand everything before we go, my friend, in some way, we want to also control God. We want to limit God to maybe television set that we use our remote to operate. Okay? We want to understand everything. Then we can now make choice whether we will go or not, whether we will give reasons or not. That is it. We want to understand before we go. Abraham is teaching us that we need to obey God. Obedience is the first law of heaven. Obedience. Even they say it's better than sacrifice. The first law of heaven is obedience. We need to obey in order to understand. But if we want to understand before we obey, we want to change the order that the Lord has set. That humility that the Lord has put in us, we want to push it by the side in order to direct God, to tell him how we want him to operate with us. The one who has thought about us when we are not existing and has thought it very right to make us to exist. All of a sudden we want to direct him. In our lives, it may happen that where we are working, I don't know, workplace, it depends. Some people, they work in such a way that after some time they will be transferred to somewhere else, to go and work for the same company. Sometimes they will move you from grace to grass. Sometimes they move you from where you enjoy to some other place where you face reality. When people are going through a lot of good things, enjoying themselves where they are, they will not be able to tell whether they have a very authentic faith. They will not be able to tell. Until situation pushes you to the wall. That is when you will know. That time you begin to question God. Why me, God? Okay, why you? Okay, so it should be somebody else. Until you face difficult moments, you will not be able to know whether your faith is strong. But Abraham has shown us, at the age of 75, he had to obey to go. But the Lord attached something while he was telling him to leave. Leave, and he made a promise. I will bless you. Bless this, give you this, give you that. He attached that. But we know that obedience comes before the blessings. Obedience comes before the blessings. Because it becomes a sine qua non, without which there will be no blessings. And so he teaches us today, Abraham, that we need to obey God first before seeking to understand. Like St. Anselm will tell us, we need to, continue to believe because we will understand. We need to believe in order to understand. Everything is not all about rationality. I have to reason it to see whether this is... Reason can move. But it will get to a stage, if faith is not able to assist reason, then there's a big problem. Philosophy can be done like this, standing. But you see theology, is like this. Because one needs the grace of God. One needs the light of the Holy Spirit in order to keep moving, even when situations are not clear. It doesn't mean we throw reason completely away and then embrace only faith. That would be somebody also making himself a remote in some way. Even the faith that we have is rational in nature. There is reason why the why is why. Why we worship the one we worship. Okay? So our life must certainly tell whether we believe that after this life there is another one coming. Or everything finishes here. If all I understand is all about enjoyment, anywhere I am, I must gain. Anything I'm doing, if I don't have some certain things I have to smuggle out, then I will not feel better. You're working in a company, they tell you, okay, transfer some of these goods here. Okay, because you have absolute control. You know how to smuggle out some certain things. You push some certain things and push some to yourself. You know? Oh, after all, it's just something small. I'm working for them. You know, because Satan knows how to, he tempts you with that thing you like. Last Sunday, Jesus defeated temptation. And that's why today, we are called to listen to him. If you want to behave well, if you want to defeat temptation, listen to him. My beloved son, listen to him. You'll be working there. They have told you where to transfer something. You decide to, but let me keep something for myself. After all, I've been suffering for this company. Why now? No, it's only this one. Let me just take it this time. Another opportunity will come. More things to be accumulated. No, how can I send all these things? I still have to, Everything is about my own comfort. I don't even work again for the glory of God. I don't see myself as someone who must participate in the cross of Christ. Everything I must gain. In everything I must gain. And the day they will decide now to transfer me from that place, I will feel like the heaven is coming down. Why? Because there is something that has been happening underground that nobody has known. So, I am worried now. Who knows where they are sending me now? I move you from Lagos now. He send you to Ikeja, or send you to Otonkom in Benue State, or to Kafanchan in Kaduna State. You enter Kaduna, me go to Kaduna. Hey! It can happen. Abraham today didn't question God. He went. God can speak through anybody. If because you are stealing and, accumulating things by yourself, after some while, instead of repenting, you are not repenting. God must have thought, okay, the best way to help him out is to move him from there so that he will not have opportunity to steal again. And he will be forgiven entirely. And his life will be transformed. But for some other person, it's a punishment now. How can you send me? Even where they're sending me, the language they're speaking there, I don't understand it. Why should I go there? Why? This is a punishment for me. I don't understand what they're speaking there. Why should I go there? Because once the mind is blocked, one is not open again to learn anything. Everything, he has to be with his own people. She has to be with his own people. They must speak my dialect. If they don't speak my dialect, I can't go. We have to speak. We must understand ourselves. This is the land that we are called to live. Leave that comfort zone in order to go and challenge yourself, to see whether your faith is strong. There is something in your life you need to live. Maybe for somebody, what the person needs to live is unforgiveness. That is the land some persons here need to live. Or criticism. Or gossiping. Or saying all sorts of evil things, about other persons. Or even judging. If the way human heart is so sometimes you begin to ask yourself, before you know what's happening, you are judging somebody inside your heart. Somebody is saying something, you are judging him inside your heart. Out there. Before you know what is happening. And then after, the conscience will begin to speak to you. What have you done? That is, if the conscience is not on public holiday, it begins to, what have you done? Now you have to go back and confess. And for somebody, he has not forgiven the other person who offended, but he's going for confession. And you want God to forgive you. How? You need to set yourself free. You must be very light in order to embrace the goodness. Because in God, everything is complete. For you to be able to embrace him, you must not be attached to any other thing that will take you away from him. Whatever that you do or say, if it cannot do well to the one who will receive it, it's better not to do it or not to say it. And I stress about unforgiveness because I see that is something very common with us. Somebody has offended. The person has never offended. He has never apologized. Until he apologizes, I will know. How can I go? He has offended me. I wait for him to come and... Some people will never apologize because the way you are thinking is not the way they are thinking. Inside your mind, they have offended you. Inside your mind, they were fighting for their own rights. And Jesus will tell you, before you present your gifts, you remember that there is somebody who is still annoyed with you. It's not as if you are annoyed with... Somebody is still annoyed with you. Go and make him not to be annoyed with you before you present your gift. Unforgiveness. The one who lives the life of unforgiveness is the one who is weak. Who is weak. But the one who lives the life of forgiveness is the one who is strong. I tell you a story. A priest was going to administer communion to a dying patient in the hospital. He was driving, and then almost some distance, he was almost stopping, and then somebody who was on the first floor like that spat on him. Because the glasses of the vehicle were, the person spat on him, almost touched on the hem, almost here, of the alb he was wearing. And everything appeared very, very deliberate. He decided to park his vehicle, and he went to go and ask him, why did you do that? To confront him. This is very bad of. He went. I was going up the step. A voice started speaking to him. But where do you think we are going? What do you think you want to do? Is what you are going to do more important than where you are going? And he stopped immediately and went back, entered the vehicle and went to the hospital. He entered the hospital and the person was almost breathing to the last. Immediately the person received viaticum, the person died. Immediately the person received viaticum, the person died. If he had gone to be questioning somebody, to speak philosophy or speak theology or begin another doctrine of faith with the one who spat on him, the patient in the hospital would have gone before his arrival. Forgiveness. Number one. Another priest was going somewhere. This one was just, I think 2 weeks ago. There was one Monsignor that was just, was just buried. Hotei, for those who know. Monsignor Hotei. He was going, this priest was going with his driver. He was going for this burial, this funeral ceremony. And somewhere, here in Lagos, somewhere here. In Lagos, everybody is in a haste. Even those who don't have anything to do. All of them. And it's in Lagos that a KK person will overtake you and go in front of you and match break. It's in Lagos. So you will be driving for yourself and be driving for the other person. You should be asking yourself, what kind of driver's license are people having? He's always blowing horn, zam, in front of you. Wow. To carry a passenger. Whether you know how to brake or you don't know, that is your own cup of Bonvita. He doesn't know. He was going with his driver, and another car who was in a haste went and hit them behind. And, destroyed the vehicle to some, substantial amount. And then the person came down, the man came down and was begging them. He came down and looked at the man. The driver already was almost pulling his clothes. He thought, why are you pulling your clothes now? Yeah, he has to pay for every damages, everything. The man was begging. He just had to give them his complimentary card, begging them that he's in a haste to go to somewhere. Okay? That is almost like the priest look at them, just enter the vehicle, told the driver, drive, let's go. He went. I'm talking about what happened 2 weeks ago, because Monsignor Hotei was just 2 weeks ago. His funeral took place. He went for the funeral. Participated at the mass, everything finished. When he came out, the driver was like this, well prepared. He said, Father, yes, finally. Yes, the man has transferred some money to us. But it's only 100,000. He said that is the only thing in his account. But he's just begging us to accept it. He was saying it, waiting for the priest to come and say, well done, my humble servant. You have done well. May the Lord continue to. He was waiting for the priest to appreciate him. And the priest looked at him and said, did I ask you to collect money from him? He was like, Oga, Now, what will they do now? Somebody hit our vehicle. He has to, and he has volunteered to. My friend, did I ask you to collect any money from him? Ask him for his phone, his account number, and transfer back the 100,000. You don't know the one you will offend tomorrow. Transfer back that money to him. He doesn't need to pay. We will work on the vehicle by ourselves. The driver just had to do it, you know. Hi, how can he be this kind of merciful? Somebody hitting us, and just like that. He did it. And what happened? When they finished and they went home, after, that man called the priest. He was asking him, but you are a priest. He said, yes, I'm a priest. He said, I was dumbfounded. I was, you know, very surprised to hear that you say that the money should be returned back. I have cost you a lot of that. He said, no. He said, please, Father, will you become my spiritual director? I am not a Catholic, but I have learned something that I have never learned throughout my years in other churches in you. Forgiveness. That is the second question, the second story. The third one, before I continue. A bishop, still a bishop in Nigeria. I will not mention name. Who knows? Maybe somebody here has the number. And then a priest was living with this bishop. What happened? This bishop has a very wonderful dog. Every night he will be, you know, some dogs make noise, no? It's not bang, 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 every time. The priest was just managing it and managing. But then one day that dog did something that pained the priest so much. What did the dog do? This priest has washed the clothes, the clothes of the bishop. If you know the bishop, it has red button. When they have their sultan, they have red button on it, and then red lining, like that. Okay? We call it purple, not really red. Red is for cardinals. The bishop, purple, everything. He has finished washing all these whites and other things and hung them on the lines. And this dog did what? Went and brought all of them down. And started dancing, dancing on all of them, rolling himself happily, up and down. Sometimes you ask yourself, this reason, this ability to think that we have, is it really necessary? This dog was doing all these things. And when because this priest already doesn't like this dog. From number one, he doesn't like, he's only trying to, to play along because he has seen that this bishop loves this dog so much. Hi! And he came and he saw these clothes like this. He forgot about the clothes. He decided to harvest the dog. He carried the dog because if he begins to beat the dog there, the bishop will hear and he will be in hot soup. So he decided to harvest the dog gradually. And went a little bit far. And dealt with the dog completely. Seriously, beat the dog blue and black. To the extent that after beating the dog started limping. He couldn't walk very well. Yes, I have done it. And then came back. What happened? To rewash everything. But he was rewashing it now. At least he has done he has beaten that. The dog was lying there, almost helpless. What happened? That night, some group of armed robbers entered the house. All of you come out. If you don't come out, we'll shut down everywhere. And his room is downstairs, very close, almost close to where these people were saying, the room of the priest. But he has injured the dog, isn't it? So the dog is nowhere to be found. And he was restless. Who knows what is the next thing? The only thing is to hit the door and then enter, take him wholesale and go and destroy him. Okay? These people were so serious about. But he said he remained in his room. But after some time, he was hearing the dog barking in front of his door. Barking at those people. Barking, raising voice like it has never raised before. After some time, those people did what? Disappeared. They disappeared. And when he came out, he saw the dog in front of his door, protecting him. The dog, he wounded. Sometimes you begin to ask yourself, this reasoning that we have, is it really helping us? The dog didn't count that this is the man who wounded me. Let's then deal with him. The dog came back to protect him. If we keep on nurturing the wrongs other people have done to us, we will never move forward. It is like somebody who is doing mark time. They say forward march. He marches. He continues mark time. Other people are going. If we don't know how to forgive people, then we don't know where we're going. No? We don't know where we're going. And that is why sharing in the suffering of Christ is very, very important, as St. Paul puts it to his letter, Timothy. Sharing in the suffering of Christ. Archbishop Fulton-Sheen has said it already, that we must see pain in a particular way so that it will make sense. When the pain we are passing through is not seen in line with Christ, then it becomes a futile suffering. That is, removing Christ, putting Christ away from the pain that we are going through, we will see ourselves as people who are suffering punishment. We are just suffering punishment. It's a futile suffering. And what will it lead us to? It will lead us to despair, hopelessness. It will lead us to bitterness. And what will be the result? Isolation. And some persons may even go to the extent of suicide. If we don't know how to manage pain. But if we know how to manage it, if we see Christ in our challenges, if we see Christ in our suffering, it becomes a sacrifice. Because everything is also looked from the spiritual point of view. If Christ has been dragging his cross to go and save us, the one who never sinned, how much more we who are called to unite ourselves with him. And that is why in chapter 16 of Matthew, is not what we read today, chapter 16, before the one of today, Peter didn't understand. Peter didn't understand. When Jesus was speaking about his passion, Peter wanted to overtake him, like Keke people, wanted to overtake him. It will not happen to you. Why? He got courage now because he has been told that upon you I will build my church. You have become maybe mouthpiece of Jesus now. You will begin to dictate for him what he will do and what he will not do. And what did Jesus say? Get behind me, the one who brings about division. Satan, because you bring about division. Your thinking is that of human, not that of God. And the will of God must be obeyed in every situation. Told him to get behind. And just to let you know that Jesus is teaching him that the disciple is not greater than his master. It is the master that knows the road, not the disciple. And that is why the disciple is called to follow. And we are all called to follow. But anytime we begin to question every situation, we must understand before, why is God, why is this happening to me? Then we will run into problems. So, in Sicily, before coming back to Nigeria, there was a woman I went to visit to give communion. She had had an operation on the throat. And they didn't do it well. And she discovered it after 15 years. And they have to do another operation. This thing, she has been passing through hell of pain. But what surprised me is that it was a day before she would go for that. I used to go around to give them communion, But a day before she would go for that, she was begging that she needed to receive communion again. Because already in the hospital, they told her it's 50-50. It may be the end of your life. You may survive it. It's 50-50. So I went there. I was going there to see somebody who has given up completely. But I was surprised. She was even smiling more than those who were taking care of her. Somebody passing through pain. But the person was smiling. Praying. Rosary doesn't leave her hand. Always with her rosary. Pray. Asking to receive Jesus Christ, to receive the Eucharist before. Because she doesn't know how the whole thing will happen. And later they gave me the time, 2 p.m., when they will do the operation, that I still need to celebrate for them. I was celebrating for them. Then, a day after, they later called that the woman made it, that she didn't die. And she's living much better today. We need to understand how to manage our difficult moments. If we don't know how to manage our difficult moments, we'll run into problems. What is that cross that you are carrying? That you don't want to see Christ in it. And sometimes it appears that you are the one suffering more than every other person. Look very well. Think twice. There are some persons that by the time you meet with them, you go and hide yourself. You will not even talk about what you are passing through. You will not pass. You will not think about it again. It's very, very important. And that is why in the gospel reading of today, what happened? Jesus took the same tray that used to go with him. He went there. Small revelation of how those who believe in God can be. Peter forgot that he has family downstairs. He wanted to remain in the mountain. It's good we remain here. A narrator will tell you that he didn't know. He said this because he didn't know what to say. There is a way you will see something. See goodness, see beauty. You forget yourself. And Peter is always so forward to suggest, to say something very fast. In the passion of Jesus, he will still be the same person. Courageous, too courageous, over courageous. You carry something and cut somebody's ear. It's the same Peter. No, let us remain here. And we know that this kind of conversation is very necessary because the Old Testament as a whole was being represented on this mountain. That was why that song was necessary. Moses for the whole law of the Old Testament, and Elijah for the whole prophets of the Old Testament. And they were discussing about the passion that the one who comes to fulfill what they have preached about, what they have talked about, was going through. And so the Old Testament was represented completely. And the one who fulfills everything of the Old Testament, who represents the New Testament, was there to fulfill it. And that is the person of Jesus. Something happened on the mountain. Jesus did not change in his statues on the mountain. We must understand. It's not because his clothes changed, everything changed. He didn't change his substance. Only that what was hidden was made open on the mountain. That glory that was hidden in humility. That divinity that was veiled in humanity was opened for human beings to see. And the voice speaks. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. The voice of the Father didn't say, I admire him so much. It's not admiration. Because some persons will admire somebody, but they cannot do what the person... No! It's not enough. Listen to him, and listening here has to do with doing. You don't only hear what somebody... You listen to adhere to what the person is saying. If you want to know how to live well, this is the person you must listen to. Whatever he does, that is what you are called to do. What he doesn't do, you shouldn't do. That which he does, you must do. And then, Jesus told them not to reveal anything until after he must have been raised from the dead. And so we may ask ourselves, what is that thing that I want to leave behind? Hatred, criticism, gossip, unforgiveness, stealing, because maybe another person, well, the thing is just that they drop something, have to. Which one? Which one? That is the question. Second question we ask ourselves. How or where in my life do I see myself or allow myself to be prevented from bearing good witness when I'm suffering, when I'm passing through some difficult moments? What is that thing that makes me to conclude that why should I be suffering? What is that thing that is interpreting everything for me as punishment, as hatred, as despair, as hopelessness? What is that thing in my life that is making me to understand my suffering in this way? The one who doesn't celebrate Good Friday has no business with Easter Sunday. The one who does not help Christ to carry his cross, if he comes and be singing and enjoy himself on Easter, he's actually wasting his time. Because the way of the cross is the way of salvation. If the one who has come to save us has passed through difficult moments, how much more we, who have actually committed a lot? The third question will be, which voice do I listen to? Which voice shapes my conscience? The one that says, hey, you have to do back. He has said something back. He shouted, shout back. When you begin to shout at somebody because the person shouted at you, what have you limited yourself to? The follower of the person, no? Somebody shouts at you. You were so quiet. And somebody all of a sudden shouted, get away here. And you go, you get away also. You have limited yourself to the follower of the person. Oh. If you don't know it now. Because the person now is the one telling you what to do, changing your mood for you. Instead of calm person, you become very wild. He said, get away, you get away. Keep quiet, you keep quiet. Who are you to tell me keep quiet? Alora. Then the person has succeeded in changing you. You are no longer yourself. So we ask ourselves these various questions and then ask God to grant us the grace. Because we know certainly that the situation we find out there will push us to the wall. If you don't have difficult moments in your life, you need to question yourself. Maybe you are compromising a lot of things. There must be some challenges here and there. And these are the challenges that will help to make you to be strong. They are very, very important. They are very, very important for our growth. There is no Christian that must not have some kind of cross. It is that cross that purifies the way for us. And we have a model that we are looking at. That is Jesus Christ himself, who is always ready to forgive. And that is why, no matter what somebody has done to us, we set the person free so that we'll be free ourselves in order to unite ourselves with Christ. Whoever that must embrace Christ must be ready to detach himself from certain things, which we have just mentioned. And so we ask God for the grace. We ask God for the grace. We need his grace. Personal effort is very fundamental also. Our effort and the grace of God must work hand in hand. Okay? We ask God for the grace. When the situation becomes very difficult, that we may be able to, with the grace of God, with our personal effort, we will be able to, stand firm and represent Jesus. So that anything we do, certainly another question we may ask ourselves will be, if Jesus is to be here, will he be proud of me for what I have just done? Will he be proud of me the way I treated this person? Will he be proud of me that instead of helping somebody, I'm telling the person to come the following day, and later the person couldn't make it again? Will Jesus be proud of me? Knowing what each person needs at a particular time. There is somebody who is dying, hunger, and you have a lot of things that is edible. But because you are having the gospel you are having the Bible, you begin to read about Jesus. My friend, he doesn't need Jesus. The Jesus he needs that time is the bread you are having. That is because he has to eat very well in order to understand anything you are talking there. Even Jesus himself knew when people needed bread. I'm worried. I don't want to send them home, that they have to eat before. Even Jesus himself, that you claim to represent, he knew when people needed something to eat. We need the courage to do what is right. People must criticize. People must judge you. People must condemn you. But at the end, the one who judges rightly is the one who is not visible. Who is not visible. Otherwise, we end up at the level of appearances. We continue to ask yourself, the way you are, is there anyone who is afraid of coming to you? Are you approachable? Are you the type that when people are coming, they are very careful not to? Or you are the type that even when you see people, you run away? You don't want to associate with people. But you want to be in good relationship with God. The love of God and the love of human being cannot be separated. It is like a bird that must be flying with two wings. It cannot fly with only one. There must be the two of them, the love of God and the love of human being. Until these two work hand in hand, we may be deceiving ourselves. And it's not possible to say, I love my neighbor so much. Yeah, who is God? I don't pray again. Nothing, my friend. It's not possible. You are not coherent. You have to pray. Because he's somebody who has given the life and has given you the air you are breathing every day. You must pray and you must love your neighbor. Very, very important. And so as we continue this journey of Lent, we continue to ask God for the grace that we need. Challenges will come. Trials will come. Difficult moments will come. But we ask God for the grace that we need in order to live accordingly. May the good Lord bless these words in our hearts through Christ our Lord.